Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Paula from Paula's DIY Decor, and I'm the crafter from Down Under. Well, today I'm excited to share with you how I made this beautiful Cornucopia wreath. It's a fabulous DIY that you can hang in your home all year round. So to get started, you're going to need a party hat that you can find in any discount store or your local supermarket, an assortment of ribbons, and some florals to put inside your cornucopia. Now, to get started with the ribbon, I wanted to create an extra special ribbon that had lots of dimension in it. So I already had a burlap ribbon in my stash, left over from my Easter decorations, but I wanted to create a two-toned colour ribbon. So I had this beautiful black and white checkered ribbon that I found in a local discount store, and using my hot glue, I decided to create a multi-dimensional two-coloured ribbon by simply hot gluing the very narrow black and white checkered ribbon and created a border on either side of my burlap ribbon. And I thought it gave it a really nice, interesting touch to the ribbon. And then to create the bow, I cut my ribbon into roughly 12-inch lengths. I dovetailed the corners of the edges of my ribbon just for that extra professional look. And then what I did was I created a loop, making sure that I twisted the bottom of the ribbon because it's only one-sided, to ensure that the dovetailed edges all had the black and white checkered ribbon showing. And then I lay down the ribbon bows opposite to each other. I had 3 layers of ribbon, and as you can see here, I put one layer in one direction and then I put the next layer in the opposite direction. And the 2 sticks that you use it's my attempt at creating an easy bow maker. I don't have one, so I thought I just made it out of 2 very narrow wooden dowels, and I stuck them inside some old ribbon inserts and created myself a DIY bow maker basically, and it works really well. So I put all of my bows inside my DIY bow maker, which helped to keep it into place, and then I simply used a stretch of the black and white checkered ribbon to create and bring the ribbon and the bows all together in the center. Then all you have to do is fluff out the bow, and I tried to fluff it out as best as I could and set it to the side. Now, to create the cornucopia in itself, all I used was my party hat, and I took off the strings of the party hat, roughly decided where I want to position the party hat on a wreath, a wooden wreath that I used in a previous project. So you'll notice all of these pieces for this DIY I actually used from my stash. We can't go out at the moment. We are under COVID restrictions, so I'm really challenging myself to use as many things from my stash as possible. So using my hot glue, I used some of my marine rope, or this is actually really extra thick twine rope that I also picked up in a discount store, or you could find it in any craft store or any hardware store. And I just created rows of rope around the edges of this party hat. And the idea is that by the time you've wrapped the rope all the way around your party hat, you won't even know it started as a party hat. It will really start to take shape and form of a cornucopia. And in a moment, I'm going to show you how to twist your rope so that you can create a kind of like a curl at the end of your party hat so that it really starts to look like a genuine, authentic cornucopia. So as I started to get towards the pointy end of the party hat, what I then started to do, so when I was gluing the rope onto the party hat, it was really easy to twist the rope around on itself. But as I wanted to create a bit more of a U shape towards the end of the DIYs to make it look like a cornucopia, I noticed cornucopias tend to go up like in a horn shape or sort of more like in a U shape. The best way for me to achieve that U shape and give the rope a bit of flexibility so that you could shape it in sort of turning upwards was to then glue the rope onto itself. So where you position the glue is actually really important to the ability for you to be able to start twisting and shaping your rope in any direction that you want to. So just take care when you are putting the glue that you place it right on top of the rope and then you curl the rope onto itself. So you place the rope onto itself where the glue is. Try to make sure that the glue doesn't seep out on the sides because that makes it a little bit more difficult to maneuver and to shape the end of the cornucopia. But it worked out really well. It was quite pliable and maneuverable. And you'll see in a moment when I turn it sideways that it really ended up looking just like a genuine, real cornucopia. I was really pleased with it. It looks fabulous and it's going to be very functional as well. When I was done shaping the cornucopia, I then went and put some more of the rope on the inside of the cornucopia just to give it a really nice finishing edge and to make it look a little bit more professional, just in case when I put the florals in, I didn't really want to be able to see the party hat on the inside. So you don't have to do this step. I just wanted to give it that extra finished look, and so I layered a couple of rings of rope on the inside. Once I had finished doing the inside, I then took the cornucopia and I started to decide where I wanted to arrange it on my wooden wreath ring. And I used a thinner piece of twine to then fasten it to the ring. Now I used just a regular bow to start with, but I went back and made a tighter knot. I just didn't want to do it too tight to start with because I wanted to see exactly where I wanted to position the cornucopia. And to start with, I positioned it on the outside of the wreath, but by the time I had finished decorating this cornucopia, I actually moved the cornucopia more towards the inside of the wreath. It seemed to sit better on the wreath when it was more shaped on the inside of the circle rather than the outside of the circle. So when I was finished with putting the twine and fastening it to the wreath, I then used some floral foam and got to the really exciting piece. And this is where I started to put all my florals together. Now the colours I've chosen this time are very earthy, very warm. They're very reflective of fall, or in Australia we say autumn, but very reflective of some of those cooler months with these beautiful muted tones. So you'll notice that these red florals, I think they're mums or they could be peonies, I'm not sure, but they're beautiful, beautiful florals. And the red is more like a deep burgundy, kind of a blood red sort of colour, very nice for the cooler months. And I used some apricot or peach coloured peonies also to offset the red, and I had some little white florals in there as well. And then I was going along, I thought it needed a little bit more of some texture in the back and the front of this arrangement. So I used some of my desert flowers, or I think they're called pampas flowers, maybe pampas type of flowers. I don't really know the names of them. I call them desert flowers because in the Australian desert you tend to see some of these florals around in nature. So I used these lovely, tall, beautiful, wispy type of desert florals that I actually picked from my boho tablescape, and I cut them down to create some texture, some height, some dimension in this floral arrangement. Now, the Cornucopia had a very wide opening at the front, which allowed me to really make a very full and round floral arrangement. So I really filled it actually to the brim, probably overfilled it, but I liked it. I thought it was nice. And then I added some of these baby's breath and little wispy flowers that I had in my stash from a whole range of decorations. I'm pretty sure that if you go through your stash, you're going to find a whole array of different florals that you can repurpose from previous projects, or maybe you've got bits and pieces lying around from different stems that you didn't use. And this sort of DIY is really great to use all of your leftover bits and pieces from your stash to create a gorgeous floral arrangement. If you're liking this DIY, I'd like to invite you to subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. If you're new to my channel, a big warm welcome to you, and many, many thanks to all my subscribers who have left me some warm and encouraging messages. They really mean a lot and spur me on. So to give this wreath a little bit more stability, I did use some floral wire and I pierced it through the paper hat and secured it to the wreath. I was concerned that the weight of the florals might make the cornucopia drop a little bit, and wasn't confident that the jute twine alone would hold it together. So you can see there the floral wire gave it that extra stability, and that was going nowhere. It wasn't going to fall apart at all. So to finish off the cornucopia wreath, I just used my hot glue and adhered the bow to the cornucopia wreath. What do you think? I think it turned out absolutely stunning. It's a gorgeous cornucopia wreath. It's really hard to come across cornucopias in Australia. I had so much fun making it, and I thought it turned out absolutely stunning and elegant. Beautiful warm colours to welcome your fall or your autumn in, or to use all year round. I hope you've enjoyed this DIY. Let me know what you think, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a great week. Bye.